Hey there everybody, so welcome to painting the O-Yoroi. I'm just about to start greying everything up, which is going to be the first thing to do. And it's going to be a bit of more of a hardcore job, but I haven't worked out exactly what patterns etc. I'm going to paint on it. First I was thinking about doing dragons sort of up the left hand side. But I've changed it. I think I might do tango so that I can do kind of wing patterns on here and here. And have kind of a pointy nose tango face down the side of it. And I think it'll sit better on the side if I do that. I can still have it grabbing like a, what's it called, a pearl of wisdom, like a dragon does, in one hand maybe, and using the shoulder pad there as I was just pointing a minute ago, which is a bit too early, but what the hey. So yeah, I'm just going to crack on with greying these guys up, and I'm going to do light grey, white dry brush, black ink, and that will be kind of the base colour to set everything going. So I'll crack on, I'll do all three layers of that and I'll show you, well, I'll show you each step of the progress as ever. So I'll catch you in a mo. So here you have it, O-Yoroi greyed up. Next tier will be white highlights. And if you watched the previous video, this is what I mean about it. Doesn't take long, and if people should at least do this, you know what I mean, before sticking them on the table. Ideally they should do the white highlight and the ink wash at the very least, and maybe throw in just a couple of colours. Never use bare metal miniatures, please. But onwards and to the next step. Here then is the O-Yoroi with the highlight done to the grey. You see that I've done quite a lot of sort of panel work and blocking in areas as well as just hitting edges. This is just to start bringing in some depth. I'll give you a bit of a twist. This isn't the best light. It's not particularly bright outside, so I'm not getting great daylight. But you can see it's sort of, you know, even at this stage, you know, it's starting to come to life. And this is all going to get into black in a minute. You might think it's a lot of work. I mean, you could do this just by dry brushing, but I chose to paint it because I think that, in my opinion, you get a better result. It just takes an awful lot longer, you know. I think it took me about, I don't know, 2.5 hours to do all the highlights on this guy. So it is time consuming, but I think it comes out worth it. And this is also what I mean when I say, where even if you did do it by dry brushing or what have you, which would be perfectly fine, just getting to this stage, you know, you start to make the model look like a model. Also, I've got the other little bits, so I'll just show you them as well. These crazy koalas, first of all. Just done the highlights. Again, these will get black ink washes. I'll just show you the backs as well. And arguably this is perhaps excessive, but it just means that by the time you put the black ink wash, essentially all the black is done, so anything which is sort of joints and right in the recesses or what have you, you've done all of the core work for it, so that is something is sorted by doing this. So the process also just creates depth. I think it's important to have depth to your miniatures. And here's the head and arms, just all highlighted, all ready to go. You can see it's a fair amount of work. I think it's worthwhile though. So I'm going to crack on with the black ink washes and I'll be with you in a moo. Here you have it then, the fully underpainted O-Yoroi. You can see in places there's quite a bit of bleed, so you start getting patches of white to appear. This creates natural highlighting, shading. You can see, actually I've only just noticed this on this big panel here, I seem to have missed a bit, but that doesn't matter because these panels, they're all going to get painted over again anyway. It just means that anything which does get left black, it already has a full range of highlighting done to it. Or don't have to sort of fuff on with it. If you see the weapon, that's kind of effectively a highlighted black. And it gives you, I think, a good starting point. The other thing, especially with a model like this, which has an awful lot going on, and it's easy to miss things when you're sort of looking at stuff and trying to pick things out. But going over and painting all the highlights, you also pick out everything on the miniature, and it allows you to just clearly see all of the details that you don't want to miss when you're like painting everything into colour. Arguably, this is not the be-all and end-all end of a underpainting phase. If you look at it traditionally, historically, underpainting was used as a means of generating light. So if you look at someone like Turner, he's probably the best example of certainly a British painter that really went heavily into underpainting as a means to an end. And if you look at Turner's paintings, especially the unfinished ones where it just shows he's literally only done the underpainting and hasn't painted on top, what you find is there's a whole load of paintings out there that he has produced which are very dependent on what goes underneath. And so, for instance, you could paint a very strong contrasting light side, and it's about lighting effect when you underpaint. It's not about polished realism. So you might use bright cadmium colours where in reality you then paint over the top with sort of the colours that you intend it to be, but then you get bits of yellow, say, shining through on the side that you want to be the bright side, or bits of blue shining through on the side you want to be the dark side. At some point I might do some miniatures and paint them using that kind of style of painting, but in the meantime I'll move on to crazy koalas, etc. Here are the crazy koalas then, all underpainted, ready to go. This is kind of what I mean as well in terms of just getting the details, getting them tabletop ready. So bare minimum, this will do you. You can do it in different colours as well. Give you a quick twist so you can have a gander at them from a different angle. But I think it works pretty well. I'm pretty happy with the high contrast white, grey, black with the black ink to act as a blending agent. The black ink really does function when you do this as well. It does link all of these things together and make everything into a pretty clean mini. So yeah, there's the koalas all ready to go for the next stage. So just moving on to the head and the control arms. So here you have the head and arms. Again, this is what I mean by saying if you just at least did the white highlight on the grey and a black ink wash, you know, on the whole, I think this comes out a pretty decent effect. You know, it's got a decent highlight on it. You can see pretty clearly what most of the parts of the mini are. You can identify all the little details on each of the minis. And as a bare minimum paint job, that's about all you need. You could do this kind of technique with anything as well. So you could do it as like red, orange, brown. You know, take a black undercoat or a dark brown or whatever the darkest colours you can find for the undercoat. If you're going to undercoat in a coloured paint, I strongly advise using enamel undercoat. I advise that anyway, I think, because enamel sticks better than acrylic, and then you can tier up like a lighter colour and then a very light version of that colour, or even go something like dark red, orange, yellow, and then give it a red wash afterwards, and this will build up the kind of colour range which will facilitate this kind of look. Yeah, so there you have it. O-Yoroi and crazy koalas, all underpainted, ready to get stuck into base coating, and I'll be blocking in colours, bringing in all the panel colours. It's going to be the white-red colour scheme of the JSA, and I'm going to do some pretty outrageous painting in the final stages, and part of that will be developed in the undercoat in the base coating phase. So I shall catch you then. Enjoy your painting, take care, and have a good one, everybody. Bye bye.